Stan Gibilisco here with an explanation for the answer to final exam question number 74, found on pages 676 and 677 of this book, Teach Yourself Electricity and Electronics, 5th edition. The question asks us about a particular type of antenna which consists of a quarter wavelength vertical radiating element and 4 quarter wavelength horizontal radials. The radials are connected to a coaxial cable transmission line's outer conductor or shield, and the vertical radiating element goes to the center conductor of the coaxial cable. The point where the coaxial cable joins the antenna is called the feed point, and this question tells us that the feed point is several wavelengths above the ground. What type of antenna is this? This is known as a ground plane antenna. The radials form a ground plane, which is like an artificial ground. And for radio frequency purposes, that type of ground acts very efficiently if the antenna is at least a quarter of a wavelength above the actual surface of the Earth, and particularly well if it's several wavelengths above the surface. So the answer to this question is D, is in delta. By the way, my ham radio antenna, the base of which you see right here, it's only the base because the antenna radiating element itself has been taken out of the aluminum tubing section that forms the base, but normally it would rise approximately 1/4 of a wavelength into the air on a frequency of 14 megahertz, that is 16 or 17 feet. Actually, I have it capacitively loaded, so it's a little longer than a physical quarter of a wavelength, but electrically it is a quarter of a wavelength. The radials, there's the antenna. It's in pieces lying on the deck because we had thunder showers. I don't want it to get fried by lightning. The radials are underneath the deck. You can't see them. They're wires. The deck is a little bit less than a quarter of a wavelength off of the surface of the Earth at 14 megahertz, so it's not a perfect ground plane antenna, but that is the type of antenna design that I use, and it works very well for me on the 14 megahertz ham radio band. But again, this type of antenna, when placed at least a quarter of a wavelength, and certainly if placed several wavelengths above the surface, constitutes a ground plane antenna. The answer to question number 74 is therefore D, as in Delta. Stan Gibilisco, signing off.